Hello, hello. We are here in the art studio doing a little Technique Tuesday. And I am using Hyekyung's painting that she's going to be working on she's going to be using some texture, and she's also using gold leaf. So before she went into making the other texture, I said, let's get the gold leaf on. It does take a little bit of a process. Now, we've had a conversation that I learned today that sometimes the sealer, putting that on from one of our other beautiful students, they said, Brandy in the back, whoop, whoop. She said that the sealer actually makes it really glossy, and she kind of prefers the look of it without sealer. So sealer's optional, but the gluing part is not optional. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a gold leaf adhesive. So you need an adhesive that's like this. And this is it's gonna be kind of a milky, well, let me see. This one's new, so let me use this other one that we've already been using. This has already been opened, but it's gonna be kind of a milky, I don't know if you guys can see, it's kind of a milky texture and color. It looks glue-ish. You're also gonna take a clean brush, and you wanna make sure that it doesn't have any color or anything on it, that it's a nice clean brush. Then you're going to go in sections. So she's already put in for this whole section, but she did them in pieces, okay? So you're gonna do your glue, you're gonna glue it down, glue a space, lay your sheet over the top, and the sheets come in like this, okay? So you'll take them out of the plastic just like this, and they're in kind of a book. I think this one has, I don't know how many pieces, but you can reuse little pieces of it too. But you're gonna take it and you're gonna open this up and take the sheet out, but just one at a time. And don't lose them all, the whole packet. And then you're gonna lay it carefully on over where your adhesive is. Now, you want to let this dry 100% before you come in and start taking the pieces off the edges. Why? Because if you do it too early, then you're gonna lift it from where it's supposed to be sticking down. So you wanna make sure you let it completely dry, make sure it's dried, then you can come back and you can buffer out the edges where there's any spots like this. You can come in with like a little tool or a little brush that's a clean brush and wipe off any of the edges around. So you just have to, when this is done and you've already kind of brushed off any excess with a clean brush, then if you want to come in and there's a sealer, you can go the sealer over the top. If you like the way that it looks, you can also just leave it like it is. You can paint over the top on certain parts. You can do whatever else that you want to do with it. But the main thing is to make sure that it's completely dried and sealed on. If it's not, it can flake off. So that's why it's really important to do it in sections and use the sealer in little spots and make sure that it's completely dried before you do any of the brushing off. Hello. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about our Technique Tuesday. And we were doing a demonstration. You guys all saw how we were putting on the gold leaf. This is dry now, so you can come back in, with a brush and begin to kind of brush any of this excess off. A great way to do it, and we talked about it actually after class, one of my Art Women Wine ladies said, oh, you can also just use like a shop vac or something, so when you scrape it off, the excess gold is not all over the ground, but you can actually just suck it up into the vacuum. So you have little sparkles in your vacuum. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how does this particular technique and our lives, what is the connection with gold leaf in our lives? Well, I would say it has a little bit to do with having something that's kind of fragile and having something that takes time and that is it's a little unusual, right? So gold leaf are in these sheets that we saw in our lesson.
And they're expensive and they're fragile and it takes time, but it's so beautiful. And if you are willing to slow down in the process in your painting, it takes some planning, and you're willing to really take the time. You have to let it dry, you have to be very careful with it. I feel like that's something that has to do with us in relationships in life. The things that are really worth having, the things that are maybe the most beautiful and will change the whole entire painting. Like once she has this gold leaf completed, everything else that she's going to do in the painting, this is going to be the star of the show. Like this is going to be the thing that is so bright and vivid and catches your eye and is going to really make the painting so unique and different. And I think really in life, things that are worth having, whether that, like I said, be in relationship and finding something when it's new and it's a little bit fragile, you have to be very careful to not damage it. You have to be a little bit more reserved and go slowly and slow down. And I'm a person who jumps in and then thinks later, right? So I'm like, hey, what do we need to do? I just want to get in there. And what I'm finding as I'm getting older is that, especially on something when you're dealing with somebody that has gone through things before in their past, or that cultivating this relationship with them takes time, because you need to build trust. And you need to be consistent, and you need to be soft, and you need to be patient. But the payoff is something incredibly beautiful and unique. It's worth it. And I'd also like to say, thinking about people like, for instance, my parents just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. It has been a mix of all different kinds of life things. But because they've stuck it out and they've worked through things, they were committed to the process. Just like committed to this process of doing this gold leaf, you have to really, once you dive in and you start in with the glue and you put the gold leaf on, it's going to be very hard once the adhesive is down to rip all that gold leaf off. But it's something that takes time, and it's cultivated over time, and it's just more beautiful as you give it that time and attention. And so this is a day and age and era of everything is go, 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 go. It's a swiping era where, you immediately make a decision and you don't give it any, second glance. It's a knee-jerk reaction to things. And even in friendships, it's like, okay, if you don't find somebody interesting, or they don't have the things that you're doing, or you're on to the next thing. And sometimes we miss something. We miss some beautiful opportunities where if we were just willing to slow down, read the instructions, take our time, experience the process, enjoy the process, because part of it is there's something really beautiful when you're laying down those sheets and you're letting them soak in with the glue, and just kind of being very careful to get them all overlapped and laid just perfectly. There's something really soothing and methodical and beautiful about that. So just like gold leaf, and just like in life, new relationships, new experiences, especially when you're dealing with people, just taking the time, taking some big breaths, not making some fast, jerky reactions, and seeing how things unfold. And that can be some of the most beautiful relationships and beautiful experiences that you'll ever have in your life. So don't forget today, whatever you're doing, please don't forget that you're a 10, you're a 10, you're a 10. And take your time when starting something new. Give yourself time too, and a lot of grace and patience when you're starting something new. But especially in relationships, take your time and see what happens, and see what beautiful things you can create.